Hello everyone. Today our topic is how to implement ChatGPT in ASP.NET MVC. So here are the few steps that will be involved in the process of API implementation. First of all, we should have account on OpenAI. If you have not an account on OpenAI, you can create your account simply by using a sign up process, and after the sign up you need to log in your ChatGPT account. As you are successfully logged in, you need to have a access key, and then you should open the API document and explore the sample code and modify the code in your required language. In our case, we are implementing in ASP.NET MVC. So first of all, we should have a look on the API document. Here is the API document, and let me access this URL here. So you can see here is all the detail about the API document that is going to explain all the steps that will be involved in this process. When you will sign up your account, you just need to you will have $5 credit. That credit you can use to play with the API. In our scenario, we have already set up account, so just these are all the documents you should read all each and everything before implementation of any API. So I have already explored and read these documents, so let me try to call the first API. For example, I am coming here on the completion API. In completion API, you can see here the some description about this API. Simply you can see when you call the object, there is a different parameters like ID, subject, created model, choices, create, completion. So for example, if you want to implement this, for example, we want to implement this feature in our application, so we need to we can click here. For example, this is the sample code provided by the OpenAI. For example, let me copy the code of curl. I just copy this code, copy this, and you can see here is the all the code that is written in the syntax of the curl. And similarly, you can see the code that is written in Python. You can just copy from here. In our scenario, this is the code of this one. So let me see the other code. For example, this is the code of Python, and similarly this is the code of the Node.js. Okay, just I copy this code here. This is a sample code that is written in several languages. So in our scenario, we are going to use whatever is written in the kernel. If you explore this code, you can see this is the API based URL, and this is the content type application JSON, and this is the authorization header. So you can see we need to pass header, content type, authorization, this one, and we need to pass the model. This is the built-in model of the ChatGPT that we will use, and this is the prompt. This is the input. Basically, prompt is the input that user will add to get response from the API. So let me try this code first of all in the Postman. When this is implemented in the Postman, we simply copy the code in our ASP.NET application and will execute this. Okay, let's wait. Postman is just opening here. Meanwhile, okay, yeah, we can see the Postman here. Just wait a couple of few seconds more so that we can see the welcome screen of Postman. Okay, sign in with the light API. It's talking for the username and password. Let me switch to the lightweight API client. Okay, my god, it is redirecting to me. My login is saying me that login to the API. Anyway, yeah, as I tried tried it few days ago, so there is already a collection. So as we can see in the document, we can see here is the API base URL. I have just copied this URL from there and added this URL here. And next type is the content type and authorization header. And if I click on header, you can see we need to choose the type of barrier token, and we need to provide the token, or you can see access key here. So this is the body. Here we can give input. For example, here we are providing the some instruction to the chat GPT. For example, which model we want to use, what will be the role of the user you are at, and what will the content. So right now I am here adding, please tell me about chat GPT. Okay, I have given the input here and just click on here. Okay, as we call the API in the postman, you can see this is the result that is returned to us from the chat GPT. I asked the question, please tell me about the chat GPT. So chat GPT has provided me some description whatever I asked to him. So you can see there are some other parameters like from token, number of token, completion token, total token. These are all the variable that are telling us about the usage of the API. For detail you can review, for more detail you can read the document of the API. They have provided all the information about this. So right now we have implemented the API in Postman. Now we are going to implement this API in the ASP.NET. So just see the sample code here. You can see here the all the code that is written in HTTP client. So there are the different options. In this option you can see code is written in REST client, and similarly there is the code written in HTTP client. We just need to copy this code, and for example I have just copied all the code here. You can see they have created object of HTTP client, and they are passing API URL here. Here they are passing token, and here they are providing the body and calling the response, and you can see all the things here. So in our scenario I have just copy the code, this one code. I copy this code in my ASP.NET application. I just created a controller. In the controller I have copy all the code from the API that was I call in the postman. So you can see when we call this API, you can see this is the response. We need to create an object of this class. If we want to create you just copy this here, and you can just copy JSON to C#. So I just copy all the JSON here. This will convert me all the JSON into the class of object. You can see here is the root object, and these are the all the response object. Those are written by the API. So in my scenario I just create a class of root chat GPT, click on its definition. You can see I have created all the objects here. So these are the all the objects that I have created. When I will call the API response will be written in the JSON object, and I am deserializing this object into my class. So for example, just for testing purpose, let me share, go to view. Okay, let me open this page. For example, I just view in browser. There is nothing fancy, just a simple HTML page. with the text box. When I click on the text, when I enter some text in the input box and will click on the button submit, API call will be sent to the chat GPT and they will return us the result. So let's wait few minutes more please, so that we can test what we have implemented. If you face any problem during implementation of this API, you can add your comment here. I can provide you sample code for you. You will just download that code and you can implement that code in your application as well. Okay, this is taking a little bit time. I did not restart my laptop from last few days, so that's why it's a little bit slow. I create a control with the ChatGPT, and in this control I have one index. In the index I have HTML that I will use to call the API. On the method of post I have called the API of ChatGPT. The sample code I received from the postman. So whenever you have an API, just best practice this, you just copy the code from the document and call that API in the postman, and then see what is the code, and then simply you can copy the code in your application. Okay, this is the application. This is a simple input box. We will write some here, and we will, and for example, I how I can how I can make my life easier. This is the simple task that I am providing to ChatGPT and clicking on the button of search. Okay, this is the result that is written by the ChatGPT. So there is a very simple process. You just need to have the API, and the API you need to call in the application. So let me, for example, this is our okay. Let me show you. This is the simple text box, and here is the button of submit. When I submit this page from the on page post, I am getting this value as the input box and passing this value in. Okay, let me show the way that, for example, I just copy control C, control, oh sorry, control C, control F, control V. Okay, in this HTML, sorry, in this code, here I am taking the value of the content from the input variable. Just like this, in Postman we are passing the value in a body. I'm just changing this value from here, and it's showing me data of ChatGPT. There are some different API. There's like a file, image, and different API. So I will implement other API as well, and I will also record the video for that API as well. So if you have any question or concern or confusion about this implementation, please feel free to contact me. I will try to reply within 48 hours hopefully. Thank you.